What's up, gamers? It's Kuma of Kuma Zoka Entertainment, also known as Beast Gamer Kuma, here with our special segment, video segment at that, of Born with a Controller. And here with me is WithSteve. Nice name, nice guy. So let's go right into this interview. Most of y'all know me as Kuma, and as you don't know much, this is WithSteve right now. I love the name. I actually have to say this. It just feels so welcoming. It's like, you just hear WithSteve.
That's it.
So we're gonna start off. Let's start off with that question. What made you come up with that name?
That is a very interesting question because there's a lot of times in my life where I overcomplicate things. So I went against the grain on this, and I thought to myself, well, everyone's going to be with Steve, so it just makes sense to say, hey, I don't see anybody else with the tag and prefix their name just to say they're with somebody. So that's kind of the theme that I wanted to present when I came up with my name. It was just, everybody's going to be with Steve, so it's kind of like my tag, like, hey, guys, I'm with Steve, or hey, you're with Steve. It works well. It works well. It's a good play on words.
Honestly, that is a genius play on words because it's just like, yeah, I'm with Steve. Hashtag with Steve, people. Remember that. Into this. So, straight up, when did you know? Like, what was your first clue that you were born with a controller? What was your first memory of a gaming experience?
Well, I'll tell you, the cool thing is first off, I want to start off by saying that I'm a twin. So, my brother and I... Yep. hit it where it's at. I'm a twin. And my brother in the channel adopted the name with Chris. Of course, he's Christopher, and I'm Steve. You will never hear me, by the way, call my brother Chris. You'll always hear me call him Christopher, and that's just because I'm very well rooted and proper to people in my family calling by their full names and stuff. So it's kind of a little, I call it whatever will tick, but it's just something that always stuck with me. But no, my brother and I, we started off at a youthful age picking up a maimed console with an Atari in it. And it was over at my grandmother and grandfather's house. So, born with a controller, we started off with a joystick and a literal joystick and an Atari 2600 where we would play with my papa. We would play Miss Pac-Man, Frogger, all the real OG games. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And then we started off after that with our first console being the Nintendo, and then bouncing over into the Sega Genesis, where it was just from there on, yeah, it just kept going. We'd go over to our friend's house and play the Super Nintendo, which I ended up having to go back and purchase at a later point in my life. So it's been every console going up through, and then my brother and I would make it a point to finish off cartridge games at that point in time, like when we got our Nintendo 64, to full completion. There would never be a point where we would put a game down at half completion. And there's been some fist fights when we were young over Mortal Kombat and things like that. It was just a wild time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dude, that's actually badass. You actually were born with your own player too.
Yep, yeah, I had a second player, or I was player two. I actually was player two, literally.
Oh, so technically, all right, so that's a good question. Then between you being player one, player two, so who's the older brother? If you was player two, that makes him the older brother.
Yep, he is the older brother. He is the older brother.
You was the Luigi.
Yeah, I'm the Luigi. 18 minutes apart. 18 minutes apart. Every woman that you tell that to, they kind of squint a little bit. They're like, oh, they cringe and they say, oh my god, 18 minutes? Must have been hell for your mother. And yeah, I held on to the walls, man. I held on to the walls.
That's pretty cool. Alright, so then what pretty much led you from consoles to the PC? Like, how did that transition happen?
Oh, wow. This is actually a very good question, and what really got me into building computers and things like that, and just knowing everything that I know now. We started off with life with a gateway, and it had I think it was called a K6, which would be the equivalent to a Pentium 2. Now, the Pentium 2 build, and yes. It was kind of funny because we started off our PC gaming on StarCraft and Diablo 2, and it was one of them things where now, of course, you're seeing me playing Diablo 3, and when I say that I'm well rooted in that whole Diablo series, I'm not kidding you. It's really what started off the PC gaming experience for me. So this is this whole experience is near and dear to my heart, going back to the beginning. But yeah, we invested a lot of time in that, and then there came a point where we were kind of our computer was loading up and things like that, and we ended up getting a really bad worm in our computer, which is much, if people been in situations where instead of a virus you're talking about a worm or something that actually works and eats your computer right in front of you as you're doing it. It's a pretty wild experience. But at that point in time, when an IT technician came over to our house early in the I guess action of this worm eating our computer alive and fixing it right in front of us, it was kind of like inspiring for us. So that really got me into the whole pseudo of learning how to build computers and things like that, which is why I think I stuck with the PC. Because first off, I started off with gaming, but then after that it was more about learning the hardware and things. And we took all of the gateway parts out of our computer. That Pentium 2 went so far as to us upgrading the RAM in the computer, upgrading the hard drive, everything but replacing the motherboard and the processor. And then we got to the point where we just ended up building our own computers. After that, we retired the old girl, and it just made sense to go forward and learn more about computers and stick with building computers. Then we went into MMOs like World of Warcraft and things like that, and the rest is history. Yeah. Here I am.
Damn. Woo! Damn. Did you ever go to any of the computer cons? Because I'm like thinking, how long you been in the New York area, and have you ever gone to any city computer cons like at any JFK airport or anything like that back in the day?
Well, just to give you a broader spectrum there, I've never been to a single con in my life.
Oh.
Yep, never been to a single con in my life. I know New York has a couple of them. Maryland, I think, has Katsucon. There's an Otakon around our area, but yeah, I just never had the luxury of doing that.
Damn.
You've been to a few, right?
All right. Yeah, I've been to a lot. That's the interesting part. I've been to a lot of them. But all right, so let's go into some war stories. What would have to be your most challenging game that you ever played on this?
The most challenging game I ever played.
Like it was like hours and hours, and you just got frustrated. It was like one of those things, but you conquered it and had that sense of victory.
Oh, with the sense of victory. Okay, well, with the sense of victory, man, because we're talking about every single console here. I gotta say, there's parts in World of Warcraft that really stick out to me when you say the words victory to me. One of the big ones was Super Mario 64, I would say, where we got all 120 stars. Ooh. That was a big one. Legends of Zelda Ocarina of Time was a big one as well. I think there was a lot of good games that came from the Nintendo 64 that really resonate to me and says, that this was quite an achievement. And just a well-played, well-thought-out story. Because I think, just to complement the Ocarina of Time, we went as far as Majora's Mask. And just to put that whole lineage together, that was a really good feeling to be able to finish that.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
Damn.
Christopher's over here, Royal Rumble for the Sega Genesis.
There you go. See, I remember Royal Rumble, man. I remember Royal Rumble. I got my ass kicked by my cousin with Doink the Clown, right?
Yeah. Freaking Doink with the big hand that would come out.
I couldn't do the moves.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I couldn't do any of the moves. That kind of was my struggle.
NBA Jam and shit like that. My goodness.
You're a streamer and everything like that. It seems like streaming is a big deal. How does this work well with your social life? Like when people support you and your family and stuff like that, how does it translate well with the real world?
That is a very, very good question, because I don't want to give it too long of an answer on this, but one of the big things in my life is and I think it's worth saying, just for the fact of the matter that I want to make it known to everybody that anything in life is absolutely possible. And one striking event in my life was I was bullied heavily in 6th grade, heavily. And my brother was my biggest rock to that. And he put a boy up against the wall, and that was actually pretty cool. Seeing my brother take one for me there, and It was a real trying time in my life, because it put me into a corner and made me an introvert. So I found solace and escapism with video games. In high school I had a bad case of acne, and I always thought that I would be judged for that, which is why my face is all pocked and things like that. But you know, Dad says it adds to the grittiness of my look. And I never went for the skin. I never went for the skin peel, so I kind of like the way I look. But in any case, you know, I don't know what it is. It's not it's not a mask or anything like that. What I'm doing now, but I found that life is too short to be worrying about what people think of you. And that was one of the biggest things that I learned ever since I started streaming and things like that, because I didn't take a lot of risks. But I knew that I took a lot of risks in gaming because there was no repercussion other than, you know, dying and respawning. So, you know, in life, when you die, you don't respawn. It's only one life to live. So I think there was a lot of mending in my life to say, you know, this is something that I want to do and I don't want to look back on. And I've been in a lot of business ventures in the past with my brother. My brother and I are tied at the hip on a lot of things. And this is the one piece that I said to myself I'm going to do by myself, because he had a lot of family things going on. And, you know, I've always been very entrepreneurial. And being entrepreneurial and having somebody there allows things to become a serious crutch. In fact, I just ran away from my bounty objective here. I gotta run back. But in any case, no, but I think that doing it by yourself adds a whole hell of a lot more responsibility. So, doing it myself makes me feel not only that I have an obligation, but there's more to appreciate, because I'm not weighing on my brother and saying, hey, you know, why isn't this getting done, or why isn't that getting done? If it's not getting done, it's me. It's me, and you know, I got to face the consequences myself, which is why this is going to succeed, because I'm not looking out for anybody. I'm doing it on my own. There's nobody to blame, and it's very easy to do that. So, does that answer your question?
I think that answers my question a lot, because you got me. I'm not lying right now. I was about to get a little teary-eyed a little bit, but I actually know what you're going through.
And you know
myself. You talk about acne. Yep. I was born with fangs, bro, so I know how bullied felt like. Right?
So the fangs are real.
You took it that way. Sadly, yes.
Sadly, I'll say one
honestly,
thing to
you
that.
turned out great.
And let me just hit this one thing, because you are hitting a powerful point where I think that in society nowadays, I think one of the most forgiving, open venues, the most open groups in the world right now is the gaming community. Yeah, people judge. Yeah. People get back and forth with each other and things like that. And there's a already implied competitiveness. So really, if somebody badmouths you or something on a game, you can shrug it off and move on, because you know why? You're only playing one game with them anyway, and the next game you can just kick them. I wish you could do that to bullies in school, but you can't. So the thing is that's
actually, I did kick a lot of bullies.
I'm a pacifist, so I actually never got in a fight. But the thing is that I found that
your brother can actually do the whole kicking bully back.
You got to do that.
Trust me.
You got to do that. But I think that the gaming community woke me up to how the word friendly isn't the right word for it. It's an understatement of the century, but how friendly, modest, humble, just caring people can be in life. In fact, at 17 years old, here's a fun story with World of Warcraft. My brother and I were in this guild called Dark Knight for 2.5 years of our lives. And we devoted so much time to this guild. It was fun, you know, we got to know each other, and it became a family. Well, after that point of, you know, just spending all this time going through some instances, hitting Blackwing Lair, killing Nefarian one time, we decided how cool would it be to actually meet each other in real life. We're talking about grown-ass people here, you know? And at 17 years old, our parents are just now accepting the fact that we're turning into adults. Like, we can just barely drive, you know, on our own.
Yeah.
And we're saying, hey, we want to take a trip out to New Jersey to meet these people that we've never actually truly met in our lives. But hey, some people are coming down from Canada, some people are going up from Georgia. It's going to be this big party, and they're like, "Well, are you going to drink?" It's like the one question. Like, do you know these people? Like, are they going to harm you? And it was so weird to convince them to say we've known these people for 2.5 years, but we actually didn't. You know, but we did it. Yeah. We did it. Long story short, for the sake of brevity, we did it, and we met them, and they were the coolest people in the whole world. 17 years old, youngest people there, my brother and I, and they treated us just like one with the gang because we really were, and it just validates everything that I do now and who I perceive myself to be. I feel so much better about me at 27, and I feel so bad for me at 17, or actually before that, maybe like 15 or something. I feel like I wish I can go back in time. No regrets at all in life, but go back in time and just be able to say, and to people that are going through a hard time now, everything's going to be okay, and everything's going to work out, and you're always going to have a home here on the WithSteve channel, and you're always going to have somebody to listen to, whether I'm on stream or not streaming. And there's been times already that I've talked to people, they go through a tough time, and I've talked to people till 3 o'clock in the morning. I haven't met them. I met them that night. And it's so humbling to be able to sit there and talk to people and talk them through a rough time or something, and it means the world. Like, no donation can be bigger than that, to be able to sit with somebody and hear their stories and listen and say, you know what, it's going to be all right. There's my rant. There's my rant.
Damn! Yo!
So many rewards streaming has given me. So many rewards.
Oh, yo, people, go hug somebody right now, goddammit.
Them feels,
you
baby.
go hug the next person that you see, damn it.
Them onions, man.
Speaking of which,
them onions
already broke all the stereotypes that they say about us gamers. I mean, come on. You got a social life, you meet people in person, you have a girlfriend, and so, I mean, you take me like beating the odds. Mm-hmm. So how does that work well with having the girlfriend with gaming?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Because you know the whole stereotype of how it's impossible to do both.
Well,
we're making all that in the blood right now, damn it.
Well, I read this funny thing on Instagram today from somebody that I follow, and they say, you know why you can never find a gamer girl? Because they're home gaming just like you are. That's such the truth.
I saw that too.
You saw it too? Okay. So we're following the same. So we're following the same people.
Yeah, I was like.
But one thing that was
you're
more
fucking right though.
they are. I know. You know, my parents always thought I was going to grow up with an Oriental gamer girl, because I had this whole preface in my head that I'm gonna be dating some Asian girl. Yeah. I mean, like, seriously, I had this whole thing in my head that I was gonna be very stereotypical when I was younger, and they said, oh my gosh, he's gonna go for someone like that. And I ended up not, and, no regrets at all. I found the love of my life. I really did with Tessa. And
what's her name?
It's Tessa. It's Tessa. And, but with her, it's a very interesting story. Here, I'm umming and ahhing a lot. It's a long lineage with me and her. We knew each other for probably 8 years before we started dating. We actually drag raced together. So she actually wasn't a gamer. We met through drag racing.
Dangerous love right there.
Yeah, I've been through 4 relationships counting her, and I learned a lot along the way about what love is and what love isn't. The big thing is what love isn't. With Tessa, when I first started dating her, she was very... I hate to say this to you guys. It's kind of opening up Pandora's box here a little bit, but she was very young when I dated her. Robbing the cradle. Go ahead, give it to me, chat, whatever. I started.
How young are we talking here?
No. I was 21.
I was in a minute.
Well, I was 21 and she was 17. So it was a very well, and the thing is when you grow up, like, my mom and dad are 10 years apart, and when you think about that, it's nothing. But when you're in the school year transition and things like that, you're kind of rocking the cradle a little bit, and it was a very rare circumstance to happen, because I knew her parents, I knew her well, we were very good friends, and we decided to take it beyond that. And the one thing that I told her is, I have a lot of dreams in life and a lot of aspirations, and I just didn't want any person to get in the way of that, even my significant other. So I asked her, when I first started dating her, the first real conversation we had with each other was, what are your dreams? And she told me how she wanted to become a lawyer, and I asked her how serious she was, because she's 17 years old. You're going to go to college, you're going to get there, and you're going to be like, oh my god, I just want to go undeclared now because law school is too hard. She wasn't that way, and in fact, she's graduating on the 22nd this weekend. from her undergraduate in law school. But I asked her what her dream was that early, and I believed in her just as much as when I told her I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to renovate it. I'm going to do business. I'm going to spend a lot of my money that I have right now. She had to deal with that, and she said, you know what? And she didn't deal with it. She just told me straight out. She says, I believe that you can do it because your dream is just as important as mine. So it wasn't about a gamer girl for me or anything like that, but we've definitely adopted to our principles in life. I've changed a little bit, she changed a little bit, but it was so natural. It was so natural. Nothing happened with any strain. We never had any real fights, believe it or not. We've had arguments, but nothing. We never walked out on each other. We've always held each other's hands, and it's beautiful. I couldn't be in a better situation in my life with where I am now. Long-winded response, but you know what? There's a lot of value added to it because a lot of people could be in a bad situation or in a bad relationship, and let me tell you something. If you're in a bad relationship, it's better to look at the next 40 years of your life and ask yourself if that's really what you want for the both of you. And if it's not, then there's tons of other people out there that may be much more compatible with you. And I'm not saying to go out and just, something's not working right now, not to make something work or, figure out the issues. But, life isn't over with the person that you're with or anything like that. There's a lot of value to gain from life just from yourself. You have to love yourself before you love somebody else. Yeah, that's really what I'm getting at.
Agreed.
Don't live stressful. Don't live stressful.
Ooh. All right, since we're on the subject of trainings, where do you see yourself going with this as a future?
Are you asking me the employer question? Are you seeing where you're going in 5 years? Is that what we're seeing here?
Yes, sir. Yes, that I'm asking you the employee question. The employer. Where do you see yourself now with all this gaming? Is this going to be something that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
I mean, you say you're an entrepreneur. Like, where do you want to go with this? Do you want to make your own games? I mean, let me know.
Let me pause here for a second just to kind of think of where I'm going. I have an idea. I have ambitions and aspirations, and I'm not just, believe it or not, I'm having fun with this, but I'm not just doing this for fun. Let's be real with each other. At the end of the day, you want to do something that you're happy with doing. And I find a lot of escapism with this. I find a lot of friendship and camaraderie. So I love meeting people. So the early game is just to continue what I'm doing right now, but I want to continue to offer back to my stream. So just as much as, people keep spending time out of their day, like if you have people come in here in Kuma, just watch the chat when I say, guys, type in !rank. And every single minute, every single decimal place, every single tenth of everybody's time is worth so much to me. 23.3 hours. I mean, think about that. You've put 23.3 hours of your day, and Electra's going to flaunt it here. I know she will, but you look at the time that you spend with somebody, and that's really what I cherish, because that's something that you can't get back. And just for those 23.3 hours like you gave me, is emotionally a heart tug for me, because you've come back. You've come back, and look at Jolly Rider down there, 206 hours. She's working on our Spartan rank at 300. But the thing is that is everything to me. That is the payoff. So short game and stuff like that, just keep doing what I'm doing, because what I'm doing right now is a good pace. But me giving back, I want to be able to find ways of creatively making money, but in a way that I'm allowing a transaction to happen. I'm not saying in the aspect of greed, but like if people don't want to build PCs, I'm good at building PCs. What's one thing that ran through my head is, well, I could help people like, Destiny does, Stephen Bonnell. He's an inspiration of mine. In fact, down to the Sennheisers, he reps the Sennheisers like I do. No, I rep the Sennheisers like he does. I got that idea off of him. But he's a big inspiration in my life, and to see what he did and build computers for people, that could be one thing. I thought about opening up business channels on Patreon and things like that, so we could talk about business and get some think tanks going together, while just making a little bit of like a monthly transaction to impart my own knowledge of what I have in my entrepreneurial life. That would be the short game. also getting into charities and things. I want to probably do Extra Life or Gaming for Good. So you might see me transition off of Twitch alerts to something like that.
Let me know, man. I'm already part of Extra Life.
There you go. There you go. I might meet up with the Hershey Guild up the road from me in next week, just to kind of get a feel for it. I don't just jump into things as much as I used to, but I really want to.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I really want to feel value with what I'm getting involved with, because anything that I do going forward is going to be something that I attach myself to, and I want to make that a part of my life. Like, the thing is that the hobby's gone. This is my hobby. This is my life. This is what I want to do, and keep putting as many hours into this as I possibly can, because I want to live and breathe this life. And anybody can do whatever they want to in life, but this, that's what I want to do, is just continue to add value back into the community. But long game, I think I want to, not when I grow old, but I definitely want to make a few more rounds at business outside of streaming. Possibly press an esports game to see if I can get into a league and into the tournament level and fly to some places. It could be Overwatch, it could be Paragon. There's a few that I think are right down my alley that I could do very well at. And I don't think I'm out of my well, what do we call that? The prime, out of my prime. So
no, you're never out of your prime.
Yeah. Well, people do get out of their prime, but I just don't want to let it go any longer, and I think I could definitely compete with the best of them if I put my time into it.
Yeah, I feel you. Damn.
So it's a flexing goal. It's a flexing goal.
Nah, dude, you've pretty much done what I wanted to do for years. You built a nice community where gamers can talk to each other, feel comfortable, gave them a safe haven. Mm-hmm. For them to just be themselves and, ask you, talk to them. You open up to people, and then people open up back to you, and they constantly show that with the hours that you are showing me. So you pretty much done the dream that I've been trying to build for years. That's why I did jobs at GameStop to help out other gamers, to let them, feel comfortable without feeling alienated. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's what you're doing right now. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Finally, anything at all you want to give out to future gamers out there, new generations of who we are?
Well,
like a word, like a piece, something to make them feel okay that they can do what we do. You go out there and not feel less confident to do any of this. What do you want to put out there?
In terms of streaming, is that what you're saying? Like, in terms of gaming and streaming?
Just pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be just dedicated to streaming. It's just like, because we didn't start off with streaming. Welcome. We had to actually go up into a story and say,
Here, give me one moment. I actually can't hear the things coming here real quick. I'm sorry. Glitchers HD, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to the stream, fam. And the stream fam grows by one. I actually caught you on the tail end there. I actually couldn't hear you at all. Go ahead. Give me that again, Kuma.
No, that's fine.
Thank you, Glitcher.
Pretty much it's just that, like, we all started somewhere. We had to walk into an arcade, put our quarter down, say hi to somebody. How do you make somebody new that's coming into this feel more, like, what do you want them to know? What kind of cultural wisdom do you want them to feel so they can just be okay walking into this?
Well, there's just maybe one or two things. You know what? No. It's not a loaded question. It's a good question, a fair question. The one thing that I would say is, I'll tell you this much, is one thing that I didn't have the ability growing up with. Like, I talk about how I want to get into esports and the tournament level gaming and things like that, and compete. There's one thing I didn't have growing up, and that was the ability to get into an esports league and do something like that. So, being as a person, like, if I ever have my kid say that they ever wanted to do anything, I would probably, encourage them to do whatever. But if it's something where if you're going for, like, esports competition or anything like that, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. If it doesn't exist in life, like, we didn't have esports back when I was young in terms of the same platform that it is now. Like, of course, you had Doom tournaments and stuff back in the day, like death matching. You had StarCraft leagues and things, but not to this extremity to what you're seeing now. I mean, you got Bud Light now coming on to esports tournament leagues and things like that. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But the thing is that if you think of an idea that doesn't exist yet, you're probably looking at the next greatest invention, and run with it. Like, everybody has their own mind, and nobody is the same. Somebody might have the same idea, and they might come out with it the next week, and you're like, damn, I could have done that. Or if you're a gamer and you want to, you look at a game and you say, I could do better, or I want to create something like, coming over here and visit Hadrig Amon, the artisan. I want to be able to build these HUDs and platforms and things like that, and I can get in this. Do it. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let anything stop you, because you're going to be rewarded out the back end. I think that's what it is. Follow your heart, follow your dreams, and I mean that in the most cliche, stupid way possible. like do you for you, and make life worth it for you, I think is what I can impart. You know what I mean? Like, anything that you want to do in life, whether it be gaming, whether it be, racing cars, whether it be sitting behind an office desk and propping your feet up and being the man or the woman, you can do anything nowadays, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. And I've come to see that at the ripe age of 26, 27 years old with streaming. This community that follows behind me, I can't thank anybody enough for just being here and supporting me, because I think it's fun. I'm going to be here for a long time, and deal with it. No. No. I'm doing what I love, guys. I'm doing what I love. He'll do
what he loves, and you're going to like it, damn it.
Yeah, yep.
Yo, I seriously thank you for your time. This was very enlightening.
Yep.
Even though you did give us some wrong answers, but I appreciate it. A lot of good editing from you to go.
Like I said, I could be long-winded.
A lot of tear moments. I felt like Oprah Winfrey half the time now.
Yep.
But I thank you for taking the time and talking with us at Kuma's Open Entertainment. I thank your stream for being so polite and awesome, giving us nice feedback to look at. And dude, keep on doing what you're doing, man. You're doing an excellent job, and for the gaming community as well.
And I just want to say, in part on this side as well, the feeling is absolutely mutual, because this isn't going to be the only thing that we do together. I can feel it. We got the same mindness to life, to business and entrepreneurship. We're going to talk on the side, Kuma.
Yes, sir.
I want people in chat. Go down below in the stream panels and click on kumazokuentertainment.com and see what this guy does, because it's an online game informer, man. It's an online game informer. He gives good reviews. He gives things on loot crates and things like that. It's no small part, man. You're doing something that's necessary, and not a lot of people do. You got a team behind you supporting you, and that's inspiring in and of itself. So keep doing you.
That is inspiring.
In the wise words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it, baby. Just do it. Yeah, you got it going, man. You got it going on.
Yo! Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yo, this is awesome.
There you go.
A lot of good material. And I'm not going to take you away from your game.
Welcome.
Right now.
All right. Sounds good, man.
This segment is brought to you by Grizzly Gaming Crate. That's right, next month's theme is going to be summer. So check it right now and subscribe. First crate will be 10% off if you use coupon code KZOKUENT. Hope y'all enjoyed. Stay frosty, people.